Dear sisters and brothers of the world, good evening. Today is our third session, beautiful and vast, and that is human rights. We're discussing. Today, I wanted to inform you about how many people died and how many were injured in the July August uprising in our country. And the current condition of the injured, etc. But I have not received this information from the Bangladesh government website health department, which is available is not. So I have applied to the government for the information. Similarly, two political parties have given different figures. As per I know, BNP has said 400 of their leaders and activists died, and Jamaat Islam has claimed about 600 people. Therefore, for more accurate and acceptable information, I have also applied to the International Human Rights Organization. Nonetheless, this is a significant issue with wide scope. So today I will talk to you about our basic human rights. Additionally, the basic human rights is in Bangladesh. The basic human rights in Bangladesh, as enriched in its constitution, include the right to life and personal liberty, freedom of speech and expression, equality before the law, freedom of religion, and various civil and political rights guaranteed to all persons living in Bangladesh. These rights are protected under the Constitution and supported by international human rights treaties, to which Bangladesh is a signatory. Point to be noted, these human rights are protected under the Constitution and supported by international human rights treaties, to which Bangladesh is a signatory. These fundamental rights include protection against arbitrary arrest or detention, freedom of assembly, association, and equality without discrimination based on religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. The absence of action I describe constitutes grave human rights violations. Here is why, framed by the principle I mentioned, no specific data, nobody take care of them. This violates a right to truth and the right to life. Families have a right to know what happened to their loved ones. The dead have a right to a dignified burial, and the injured have a right to medical care. The state's silence is a violation in itself. No humanitarian policy that violates the right to health and the right to an effective remedy. A government has a fundamental duty to care for its people in crisis. The failure to have or implement a policy that provides relief is a dereliction of this duty. Lack of their present government duty. The overall sufferings, this violates the fundamental principle of human dignity. Human rights exist to protect this inherent dignity, especially when it is most under threat. The Engels perspective in a nutshell. Think of human rights not as an angle that descends only when things are good, but as the unbreakable standard we hold against the darkness. Dear sisters and brothers, when everything I described happens, we do not say human rights do not exist here. Instead, we say, I say, you say, everyone say, the government is failing in its fundamental human rights obligations to protect life, provide humanitarian assistance, and uphold the dignity of all affected people. The violation confirms the existence of the right must, like a theft, confirms the right to property. The right remains even when it is being trampled. So, in our heartbreaking scenario, human rights are the voice for the voiceless, the demand for accountability for the forgotten, and the legal and moral framework that declares the suffering to be unacceptable and unlawful. Human rights are the blueprint for a world of dignity, fairness, and peace for all. They are the shield that protects the individual from the power of the state and the foundation upon which we build a just society. We are building a society. All of your cooperation. Anyway, sisters and brothers, at its very heart, human rights are the basic rights and freedom are belong to every single person in the world simply because they are human. That's why they have rights. They are not a privilege granted by a government or a king. They are inherent, meaning we are born with them. And they can never be taken away, only violated. Think of them as a set of rules for how every human being should be treated from birth until death, to live a life of dignity, equality, and respect. Sisters and brothers, the core principle of human rights, core principles. These rights are built on a few key ideas. For universal human rights apply to everyone, everywhere, regardless of their nationality, race, gender, religion, politics, or any other status. Number 2, inalienable. Human rights cannot be given or taken away. Given, take is not given, take away. We cannot lose. We cannot lose our human rights, even if government does not protect us. Number 3, indivisible and interdependent. Indivisible and interdependent. World rights are equally important and connected. You cannot fully enjoy your right to education if your right to health is violated, or your right to free speech if your right to safety is threatened. Sisters and brothers, the world, where do we find human rights? Where? Is there any rules and regulation? Of course. the most important document for human rights in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights UDHR, adopted by the United Nations in 1948 after the horrors of World War II. It was a global promise that such atrocities would never happen again. The UDHR lists 30 fundamental rights. We can group them into a few main categories, such as main categories. Number one, civil and political rights. The right to life, liberty, and personal security. To be free from slavery, torture, and arbitrary arrest. Freedom of thought, opinion, and expression. To think what you want, say what you believe, and practice your religion. Participate in government, to vote and have a say in how your country is run. But a fair trial, to be considered innocent, until proven guilty in a court of law. Our country, International Criminal Court already violates human law. It's as per declaration of UDHR, which is obtained after Second World War on 1948, and Bangladesh is signatory. Point to be noted. I will, in brief and issues, of course, in this running session, each and everything I show you, inshallah. Number two, economic, social, and cultural rights. The right to an adequate standard of living, including food, clothing, and housing, education, to go to school and learn, work, to have a job under fair conditions, and to join a trade union, healthcare, to have access to medical care, to stay healthy, participate in cultural life, to enjoy the arts, music, and the benefits of science. Why are human rights so important? Is this important? Of course, it's the base of a human. Human rights are the foundation for justice and peace, freedom, dignity, development. When a government jails someone for their political opinions, it violates their civil rights. When a child cannot go to school because of poverty or discrimination, it violates their social rights. When a worker is forced to work in dangerous conditions for little pay, it violates their economic rights. All of these are human rights. Dear sisters and brothers, no more today. Inshallah, day after tomorrow, I will document some another issue related to human rights. Thank you so much.